Yep, you were looking at the Monk at level 21, killing the first Ascendancy boss. This absolutely destroys. Now, this is a very early game build, but I wanted to get this out because there were a lot of people asking what we were playing. One of the people that I know, his name is Veets, he's been running some Monk builds, some pretty crazy ones too. Already clearing tier 17s in maps. I'm going to be highlighting his build. So head on over, hit the subscribe button, make sure you keep up with some of the content that he's been doing because he always puts together a lot of really fun builds, and I really love highlighting the content that he's been doing. I'll have a link to the planner in the description of the video, but so far, every single boss except for the one where I was mesmerized by how much damage I was doing, I have one shot, and not slow. They were all very, very fast. I'm running a couple of uniques. The uniques that I'm running are actually relatively cheap. So if you wanted to get yourself in on these, it has absolutely made a huge difference in the leveling, but is not necessary. The Monk is just very, very strong. What we're running for unique is going to be the Ghost Ride. This is going to convert 50% of your maximum life to energy shield. You're also going to gain 100 energy shield for your maximum here. So this scales up very, very high. I'm only level 27 at the time I'm making this video, and I have 1,000 energy shield and almost 400 life. This is going to be a really, really big piece of gear. I also started out with Magnord's Girdle. This has no level requirement either, so neither of these have level requirements. This gives you 49 strength. Strength converts into life. So this was a huge boost of life right from the very start alongside of your Ghost Rise. I also am running Wanderlust Sandals. This is going to be used specifically for the increase in movement speed. I love running max movement speed that I possibly can. It's my favorite way to run builds. This does add a little bit of energy shield to your maximum energy shield, so that's going to help over here too. Some things that I've been doing for the pieces of gear that I've been running. I actually gambled for this. This was something that I found as I was leveling. So I put in the increase to physical damage and then the increase into cold damage, because this is going to play a part into the skills that we're going to be using. All of the gear that I've been running, I've been trying to get max energy and max life. And as I've been going, I've been trying to make sure that I've been adding in resistances as well. Resistances definitely make a really big difference as you're going through and fighting specific bosses or specific enemy types. So those are the choices that I've been making for the gear. For the skills, we're actually running very minimal options here. We're going to be running Killing Palm. This is an ability that's going to affect your Tempest Spell, and we'll get into Tempest Spell in just a little bit. This is mostly just going to be used for a buff. The way that this works is this culls enemies, and what culling does, when you get an enemy below 20%, if this hits that enemy, the enemy dies. If you get to a rare monster and they get below 10%, the rare monster will automatically die. That also goes for uniques and bosses. They all will automatically die with that last 5% if you hit them with your Killing Palm. This will also give you a power charge every single time that you have culled an enemy. Power charges are going to be used to boost things later on. Inside of this, we're going to be running Life Drain, and this is where culling enemies is going to be very important. How you'll know you'll be able to cull an enemy, when you see an enemy that has a glowing ball over their head, that means that they're in range for Killing Palm to one-shot them. You'll gain the effects of Life Drain, and you'll gain the effects of Soul Drain. You're going to recover 12% of your mana over 4 seconds whenever you cull an enemy. You're also going to recover 12% of your life over 4 seconds when you cull an enemy. So when you see that little circle above the enemy's head, then you use Killing Palms and you're going to get back life and energy as well as a power charge. Then we're going to be using Ice Strike. This is going to be your main and most insane ability here. Perform fast icy strikes. This attacks very, very fast. Using this attack 3 times in quick succession causes your final strike that is slower and more powerful. So it's a combination attack. You hit once, twice, and then your third one is this big gigantic swing that does a ton of damage. You're going to convert 80% of your physical damage to cold damage. That was the reason that I put the physical damage modifier into here. We had 80% physical damage modifier as well on the weapon. So all of that physical damage is actually getting converted into cold damage. You can see that right along the bottom here. If you have boosts the quality of your gem, you're actually going to be getting up to 10% increase attack speed. So it's not a bad option if you have those resources available to you. Inside of this, to start off, we're going to be running Martial Tempo. Supported skills have a 25% increase attack speed. You attack very, very fast. You're also going to be running Cold Infusion. Supported attacks gain 25% damage as extra cold damage. Supported attacks deal 50% less fire and lightning damage. So when you're looking for weapons, cold damage is going to be the way to go. We're also going to be running Primal Armament. Supported skills that deal 25% more weapon elemental damage. We're going to be running Wave of Frost. This is really fun. This actually shoots you backwards. So if you're in a bad spot, it's going to shoot you backwards. It's going to shoot a wave of frost out in front of you. It's going to convert all your physical damage to cold damage. 275% more freeze buildup. You basically freeze instantly anything that is in front of that cone that shoots you out, and then because it shoots you backwards, it keeps you safe if you're in a bad spot. We're going to be running Glaciation with this. Supported skill causes 50% more freeze buildup. This means that you pretty much guarantee that no matter what you hit with it, they are frozen. Tempest Bell is going to be your biggest source of damage. This thing is pretty crazy. After hitting 4 times, and you're going to be hitting 4 times with either Ice Strike or Quarterstaff Strike, depending on what level you're at. If you're not level 14, Quarterstaff Strike and Killing Palms are going to be what's going to give you this 4 combination attack. After you hit 4 times, you can drop the bell. Then you're going to try and position it so that when you attack, you're going to hit both the enemies and the bell at the same time. The most important part is that you hit the bell. If you watch the boss fight again, I'm going to be hitting the boss and the bell at the same time. The staff strikes are going to be sweeping, so they'll hit multiple targets at one time. You're going to be able to drop the bell immediately after it goes away. Build up combinations successfully striking an enemy with other skills. After reaching maximum combo, use this skill to cause the bell on your staff to grow to a massive size as you drop it to the ground. Bell damages enemies on impact and can be hit by your skills, creating damaging shockwaves. Elemental ailments apply to the bell, causing its shockwaves to deal additional damage of the corresponding type, and hits which would have caused knockback increase the area of effect with the shockwaves. This thing is a lot, but what it does in a nutshell, every time that you hit it, it sends shockwaves out. It takes all of the elemental damage that you have on your weapon, and then it converts it to damage as well. You can do freeze buildup with this ability. So just attacking the bell itself with Ice Strike, which causes freeze buildup, is going to cause the bell to do freeze buildup as well. This is how you're going to freeze bosses as you're attacking. You attack the boss, you hit the bell, it's going to cause freeze buildup. This does massive amounts of damage. Inside of that, we're going to be running Magnified Effect. Supporting skills have a 40% increased area of effect. The bigger shockwaves are better. We're going to be running Overabundance. Supported skills have +1 to limit. Supported skills have 50% increased skill effect duration. We're also going to be running Font of Rage. Objects created by supported skills create a Font of Rage within 3-meter radius. Font of Rage from supported skills grants 2 rage generation per second to you and your allies. What Rage does, Rage is going to grant you 1% more attack per 1 rage gained. You're going to get maximum 30% damage. Font of Rage will be active every single time that your bell is active. So when you're fighting a boss, the more that you get your bell out, the more rage you have, the more damage you're going to be doing. For the passives, we cleared the Ascendancy at level 21. So we ended up taking Let Me Through Grace. Gain 1 spirit for every 6 energy shield equipped on your body armor. Gain 1 spirit for every 15 evasion rating equipped on your body armor. You cannot gain spirit from equipment. This is going to be where you get your spirit from for keeping up your buffs as you get further into the game. Right now, I don't have enough spirit in order to get any of those buffs active yet. Once we get through Act 2, we'll have enough spirit to at least get 1. And then as you get better gear, more energy shield, and more evasion rating, you'll be able to take advantage of this ability here. For the tree itself, we'll talk about the pathing as we go. The planner will be in the description, so you can kind of go where you feel. But when I started, we followed the path here and we went all the way around through Essence Mountain. Gain 5% extra damage as cold damage, 20% increased buildup. This is going to give us 4% movement speed, and like I said, movement speed is life. 15% increased mana regeneration rate. Mana is actually a pretty big issue, so having the mana regeneration is very important. We're going to get 24% increased evasion rating and 24% increased maximum energy rating. Evasion and energy shield are going to be very important for this build. 8% increased attack and cast speed. We're going to get dexterity and intellect. All of the rare nodes here are giving us multiple main stats, so that's actually going to be very helpful as we get further into our skills and abilities. We do need a lot of multiple main stats. Then we went straight into flow state. 5% increased skill speed, 15% increased mana regeneration rate. Then we're going to go into crashing waves. 36% increased damage if you dealt a critical hit chance in the past 8 seconds. We're going to be working towards some increased critical hit chance, so this way we're taking advantage of that buff. 25% increased critical hit damage bonus if you've dealt a non-critical recently. 20% increased critical chance here. Then we're going to be going up into this direction here after. Killer Instincts, 30% increase attack when you're at full life. We're going to be actually at full life all the time. 25% increased damage when we're at low life. With the way that this build is set up, we should be at maximum life 100% of the time, because of the amount of energy shield that we're going to be running. And that'll allow us to take advantage of this 30%. So to give you a quick demo of how this is going to work, Ice Strike is going to be your main attack. That little circle above this monster's head means that they're in culling range. So we can just use our killing palms, and then the monster automatically dies. We have one power charge that circles around us here. We're also going to be getting back our mana regeneration or life regeneration. So we get our 4 combinations up, our bell is active. Now we pop the bell, and then you attack the bell. You can see it doing the build freeze up and doing that area of effect attack that the bell does. It's very, very important that you get your culls out, and then you drop your bells, and then you attack the bells, but we also want to attack within range of enemies. So you drop your bell, and you attack within range of enemies. If you keep it up, it does a massive amount of damage. As you can see, all the things are dying incredibly fast. So that's really the whole entire combination. You can use your Wave of Frost in order to kind of back yourself out and then freeze anything in front of you. Anything that it hits get frozen. It's almost instant. It's a great way if you make a mistake or you're in bad position to make sure that you stay alive and that you're okay. That's the build. It's just a quick early game update. I'm going to keep making some update videos for this build as we go. I'll have the planner completely laid out. If your monk is a little bit further along than mine is and you want to follow along the planner, you can absolutely do that. I'm live every night. Stop by, say hi, theory craft with me. Catch you on the clip side.